Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make another review of another pen that was sent to me by Appelboom. So, thank you Mr. Joost Appelboom for sending me this pen for review. It will be sent back to you soon. This one is quite interesting. This is a Sheaffer pen. As you may see, it comes in this box with a cardboard sleeve with a little window open here to check the pen inside. You take this out, the pen, the branding, that's what I meant. It has the new Sheaffer logo, and when you open it you have Sheaffer logo there, this couched lining, and then you have the user's guide and warranty beneath. And here you have the pen. Okay, sorry for the loud noise. This pen is the Sheaffer Prelude Matte Gunmetal, and I think this pen looks really nice. I think this is a very nice looking pen. This pen is made of metal, so it is on the heavier side. And it has this gunmetal color with black trim, and I think this is quite an interesting design. Let's go to the design of the pen. The pen has a very simple design, like a cigar shape with this clip with a cut in the middle, and it has the white dot, typical of Sheaffer, but it also has the white dot on the top of the cap. There is nothing on the bottom, that is rounded. You have here two little steps that are the thing that keeps the clip in place. Then you have a clip, and you have a cap band, and on the cap band you have Sheaffer, Sheaffer and Sheaffer. 3 or 4 times, I think. Then I have this matte finish, which is quite nice, and it is nice to the touch. I really like it. I'm not sure how well this will hold or will stand very clumsy use, but I always like to protect my pens on sleeves, on cases, so I think I would not scratch this pen. However, I don't know if this could happen. I try to be careful because these pens are on loan to me. They are not my pens. The cap comes off just by pulling it, and you have a nice sized section, but that has 2 facets there on the side to force your grip in a certain way. So it almost reminds us of the Lamy style of gripping section, but Lamy is really more on the triangular side. These are just some two flat surfaces there. We have a black clip, and you can see there Sheaffer and F. The thing that I find the less interesting in this pen is how deep the nib is inside the section. So it seems that it has a very short and stubby, not in the writing part, but in the aspect it looks quite stubby. Then you have this regular feed, and we will unscrew the barrel, and inside this pen came with one of these proprietary Sheaffer converters, and the pen is quite nice. I think it has some nice interesting stuff. However, people get sometimes worried about this. This one has plastic threads on the section, and the threads on the barrel are metal. So these may wear off a little bit. I never had this kind of problem. For me, it is easier to see a pen that doesn't cap securely anymore, because this gets wear worn, or even the part inside the cap that catches that little lip will get worn. It may happen, not, I don't know with this pen, but it happened to me before. So this is a very simple pen, very classy one, you'll not notice it, it's not a flashy pen. You will take this pen out to write with it, and it is very beautiful. I think this pen may even look like a kind of a more expensive pen. I want to show it next to some other pens. I have here a Sheaffer Agio. I think I already made the review of this one. And it has some common characteristics with it. The same way that... Let me try to have this focused. The nib design is different, but the same way the nib seems to be very deep into the barrel, into the section is similar. The section on this one is a little bit smaller and has these facets. This one has not any facets, but has this ribbed part to help you hold the pen without without being slippery. So these pens have some things in common. Let's not look at the color, but there are some characteristics. And I have just to show you three other pens. This is the Lamy LX Ruthenium, which has a color that is kind of similar to that one. I have also this Parker Frontier in this gray color that is quite nice, I think. And we have here also a metallic gray Lamy CP1, which is also kind of similar. However, I think this one makes a very good statement by having these dark metal rings. So you have these very simple pens, and I would say that the Parker Frontier is the most similar pen to this one. It just would need to have a black cap or a cap of the same material, but I think they are quite comparable as pens in terms of writing experience and so on. And even the shape, I think the concept is quite similar, even though they are a little bit different. These are the kinds of pens that I have. I think they converge into a special design because of its function, not because they are actually copies of each other. So the pen writes well, it's comfortable to use. You can post it, but it posts very high. You see, this part is over this part of the hand, so I think it becomes top heavy. I would prefer, and it doesn't post very securely. It posts, but not very securely. I prefer to use it and post it. About some other characteristics, I find that this pen gets... There are pens that have hard starts when they are left uncapped for some time. These kept for some time, kept and unused. This one, if you leave it kept and unused, it will become dry. The ink inside the converter will get dry. So I think there is some problem here about the evaporation. However, the pen really looks stylish. The price of this pen is 90 euros. It's not a cheap pen, and again, in this pen, I think it may be a little bit more expensive than it should be. I would say this pen, in my opinion, if I don't want to be unfair, I'm always saying this, but if these pens were on the 20-25 euros price point, however they are discontinued, so it's not really comparable, but I would say that if this pen went until the 40 euros, I would think it would be nice. But I think this is maybe a little bit expensive, but we have to see it has the black finish to the metal parts, including the nib, and that usually increases the price a little bit. So this is my talking about the pen, I really like the shape. I really enjoy the design of this pen. I think this is a very beautiful pen, although a little bit expensive and with the problem of engineering on the cap seal because it evaporates. Now let's see how it works on paper. And here we have the pen and the paper, and let's write with it. So the pen that we are writing with is the Sheaffer Prelude Matte Gunmetal with a medium nib. First thing that I have to say, this is a medium nib. I like it a lot, mostly because it writes like a fine. However, if you are buying a medium nibbed pen, maybe this is a little bit too narrow. The ink that I'm using is the Lamy Monbodos hat, and the paper is the usual Rhodia pad. And let's take a look at the performance of this pen. This pen writes well, it doesn't skip, it puts down a fine to medium line. It is almost like a Japanese fine nib. Sorry, a Japanese medium nib. It writes well. The line of this pen is this one. You have no line variation naturally because this is a stiff nib. You can try to force it a little bit and you'll see it is a little bit wider. If you force it a little bit on the downstrokes, you can have a little wider line, and you can even write with it on the reversed side, but in the reverse side it is scratchy. However, it writes and writes finer, but it's not pleasant. You'll start writing with it very soon. If this pen was mine, I could smooth the underside of the nib if I wanted to, or the upper side of the nib if I wanted to write in reverse, but in some way it would be kind of stupid because I don't really like to write on the other side of the nib, so why should I do that? Another thing, this pen has these facets that I showed you to guide your fingers through writing, so it makes no sense and it gets a little bit not uncomfortable but awkward to write it with it on the other side of the nib because it was really designed to be held this way. This is a part that it doesn't bother me a lot because this is it's not very pronounced as you have on the Lamy Safari, for example, but I find this to be a little bit... I prefer to have pens that will not guide me into holding them in a specific position. Another thing that you can see here is that the nib has some ink getting dry there, and this, I think it's because of the evaporation that the cap allows it to have. Okay, and I have to say something. Sorry. I was saying this was a medium nib. It's not, it is a fine nib, so the line is okay. Sorry. This is an awkward moment. I was making some other reviews and I really thought this pen had a medium nib, but it is a fine nib. Okay, sorry about that. So the nib is right for a fine nib. No complaints about that. Forget what I told about medium nib. And about the wetness of the pen, I would say this is quite wet. So you have a very decent writing experience with this pen. I like the heaviness of the pen, the weight of the pen, the balance of it, the way it writes. So I think this is a very comfortable pen. If it is worth 90 euros, I think that may be a little bit too high, but otherwise this is a perfectly good pen and very, very beautiful in my opinion. So this is a pen that you can have, show, work with it, and they are not too flashy or I don't think anyone will try to steal this pen from you because it looks very expensive. It doesn't. It looks like a regular pen. So, this is what I had to show you today. I have to thank you in first place to Joost Appelboom for sending me the pen for review. This is very helpful. And I also have to thank you all for watching the video. If you like it, please don't forget to like and subscribe the channel, because it is important for the growth of the channel, and I hope to see you in next video. So, see you soon.